Oh wait, I need to see this thing. But... Wait, just give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Oh my god. Okay. Oh god, this cracks me up every single time. Okay, right, cool. Welcome to CandlerCreativeChats once again. I'm Dan Candler, and today we have another awesome special episode for you guys. We are interviewing another amazing member of Candler Creative, Victoria Angell-Sanchez, who is a stunning model. She's an amazing artist. She's starting to get into content creation, and she has released a YouTube channel teaching and explaining people about her experiences in her creative world. So without further ado, I'd love to introduce Victoria to you guys, and we can start this creative chat. So, whoa, hey Victoria. Sorry. Oh, that's so jokes. No, Victoria. Oh my days. It's so awesome to have you here. How are you doing?
It's great to be here.
Oh.
I'm doing well. I've been really calm recently. It's all good. How have you been?
Yeah, I've been like the opposite, but I'm still good. No, it's been pretty cray with Candler Creative, and we're kind of taking steps and levels are going up, which is meaning more work and more things to do. But it's really fun. It's been really good. So you've said you've been a little bit more chilled. Explain that. Why have you been a little bit more chilled?
I think I'm focusing more on the art side of my creative process now, and that obviously requires a lot more indoor sort of calmness and things like that. And I'm also sort of trying to push out more video style content,
Cool.
which is going to be talking about art and modeling. And I don't know, that just requires a lot of time and patience and being indoors. So it's not so much going out into London and doing as much modeling as I was like doing for like a whole year of just excessively like back and forth.
For
So
sure.
it
So
basically has been like calming down.
let me stop you right there though as well. And I'm so sorry to be so rude with that, but something we should probably start by letting everyone know who you are and what you do, what your creative flow is, because people are probably sat there at home going, "Cool, okay, so she's mentioning art, she's mentioning modeling. Let's go from there." So, Victoria, just tell me, because I really want to get onto this. I want to get straight in there with your new art process. Just give me like a really nice, quick kind of bio, if you will, of kind of who you are and you know your creative journey so far. How have you got to this point and stuff where you are becoming more chilled and becoming more of an artist and a more awesome creative individual?
Okay. Well, I'm Victoria, and I'm not from London, but I'm along the coast of England, and I've been modeling for over a year now, I reckon. I started in, I believe, at least December 2021, I'm saying, around that area, and I then started pushing it further in around March. And I've been freelancing that whole time really, and just been straight up model focused and just doing a lot of collaborations to sort of get myself out there and get the working like with really cool people and meeting a lot of lovely people like yourself in these networking events.
What drew you to modeling though? Why modeling? Why just a sudden kind of switch?
Honestly, it was like a thought that I was just like considering for quite a bit of time throughout secondary school, at least like in my early teen years. I was just like inspired a lot by Cara Delevingne, and like she was just kind of like a weird funky model who just like was not afraid to break rules and stuff, and just like put out like good messages and like her like LGBTQ things, and just being openly like don't care what other people think, be yourself, like be whatever person you are. And I was just like totally inspired by that, and I wanted to sort again, like bring that across to people as well. Like I want to make other people feel, you know, united. So I think it was just like lingering in the back of my mind, like I want to kind of do modeling, but it's not something like people usually lean towards, of course, because it's not um such a secure job as like going to be a doctor or things like that.
Mm,
But I guess at some point, I don't know, like college brought my confidence up a lot more.
mm.
And so that's when I'm like, okay, I need to push and just start now because you got to take the leap at some point
And what were you
and
doing
see.
in college?
I did Spanish A level because part my fam my family's part
Yeah,
Spanish.
okay.
um
Mhm,
and so it was just again like encouraging those roots and just letting my language improve a lot more.
mm,
I also did travel and tourism diploma and sociology, and yeah, those are things that uh, I might consider possibly leaning towards in the future. But for now, obviously I've been like model focused and art focused for pretty much ever since I left college, really. And
okay.
yeah, it's sort of been building up from the ground
Mm.
up, really.
So like you left college and you had no thought of kind of doing the career path that you had kind of chosen for yourself during college. You just kind of wanted to change everything up and go in straight into the modeling. And were you doing any part-time stuff along that, or you just kind of just went full-heartedly into it? I'm just trying to paint a picture because it's, you
Yeah,
know, it is a crazy transition. Okay, yes, we have that inspiration and we have that thing from is it Cala Levine? How do you pronounce
Cara
it?
Delevingne, yeah.
Cala Delevingne. Cala Delevingne. Um, but you know what I mean. And it's interesting actually. I was talking to Saini, who I know you're very close with.
Mhm.
Saini Kante on last week's episode, and we were kind of talking about this, how like that educational phase, I think for a lot of people, when you aren't when you may not know, and you may not think, but when you're not a follower and you want to go on your own path, but in this educational system and the process of life and society up to that point is a following system, it
It
makes
is.
sense for people to just completely turn the curve and go like a complete opposite way,
Mhm.
from what they've, maybe what their expectations of their family or their expectations of, the school and the people around them. So yeah, so that's just the link I kind of saw there, where like you can kind of see why it almost in a sense you could have maybe made that choice because you've seen a spark of inspiration from someone who is being their creative self and being, not the follower, and then it
Yeah,
gives you that spark to kind of go on your own route into the modeling world, which is amazing. It's inspiring, and you did it, and you've been killing it ever since, right? Like I mean, your work on Instagram and like the collaborations you've been doing and the modeling work you've been doing is unreal. How have you been finding this period of modeling? Because like you said, right, you've been going full, like you just went straight into full-fledged freelance life, right?
Mhm. Yeah. I did to begin with. I was quite naive, to be honest, and I just sort of went out and started getting like I got professional pictures and started sending them out to different agencies. And I only had like a small cluster of um just well-known agencies, really, and those are really hard to get accepted by, obviously. So I was quite naive and thought, oh, I just have to like do this and then the stuff just happens for me. That doesn't work in the creative world. You gotta
It's
like
yeah,
make a name for yourself. You
it's
gotta
so
prove
it just
yourself in
literally
all that.
mirrors my um my modeling path. I literally thought, like, someone
Yeah.
said, "Oh yeah, Dan, like you could totally be a model. Like you got the jawline, you got all this. Just get some pictures." Also, I thought, sweet, I'll get some pictures. I'll send it to some people. I'll just get booked like this.
It's not as easy as that.
It's not as easy
We've
as
been
that.
humbled on this journey so much. But I think because like it's so often people say, or like when I would tell people, oh, I'm gonna pursue modeling, certain friends have been like, oh, I was scouted once, but I declined it, and I'm just like, where are you finding these people to scout
Yeah,
you? You guys are like
yeah.
hundred people told me, oh, I've got a friend who got modeling and in Vogue and stuff. I'm like, where are you finding?
Yeah.
I think another to know was there is a girl in Hastings, or who grew up in Hastings, who she actually went to my school and was like, I believe 2 years above me, but she now models for like Alexander McQueen, and she's like
Wow.
on the big like fashion model highway and everything. And that was like so inspiring to me because I was just like, hey, it's a fellow Hastings girl. Like,
Mhm.
if she can do it, like I can. There's a shot. There's always a shot for me. You just got to have like the right connections. After all, in this industry, like even if you've got the absolute talent, it's all about you find that right person who knows someone from someone, and it's like, hello, a whole new world opens
Hello. Yes.
up.
Yes, and it's about getting that connection, and growing that connection, growing that network, and allowing them to know you. You know, it's there's there's always this phrase, what is it? It's who you know, right? Like it's who you.
Mm, yeah.
Is that the actual phrase? Like, oh my god, my mind's just gone fucking blank. I was literally just gonna go into, yeah, it's like
Oh, okay.
who you know, right? But no,
Yeah.
there was someone who said to me, it's not who you know, it's who knows you. And ever since that, it changes the perspective of how you connect with people, because you can connect with someone in, say, I don't know, a negative way, or be quite intense, or introduce yourself to someone and know that individual, but do they truly know you? You know what I mean? In
Exactly.
order for them to book you and to get you those jobs and stuff. So yeah, no, that's yeah, no, fully. I lost my train of thought of where I was going to go on next. But so modeling, so modeling, you've been doing that for what you said, 2 years, right?
Yeah, like at least over a year now, for
Over a
sure.
year. Wow. And you said, and so obviously you said you were like kind of you said you were kind of chilling a bit more now back home, because it's like a long distance to get into London, right? And all your jobs have been in
Yeah,
London, correct? Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, all just like any place in the world, the cities where all the bigger jobs and opportunities are, and unfortunately, a lot of them are in central London, um, or just on the outskirts that are like quite far.
Mm.
And already from where I am, it's at least like close to a 2 hour journey just into London.
Oh, fuck.
And so obviously, when I would get like at least like 2 meetups in the same week, that would already be exhausting because alongside my part-time job, although it's got like flexible hours, I do it night shift, and that's already tiring in itself.
Mm.
So if I've got a job that's just after work and then I sleep deprived already from work and then going onto the train to go to this work, you can imagine I'm like passing out while traveling on the transport because it's just like it just gets excessive. You know,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
gotta
yeah.
connect with your body, you gotta listen to your body. But in
Have you
this
always
kind
been, have you always been like that, like listened to your inner self and your body, and really try to focus on the mental health aspect of it, or yeah, how's that, like, yeah, have you always kind of, yeah, always done that? Because I know for me personally, like I just don't, like sometimes I just won't listen to my body will tell me to sleep, but I'm like,
Mhm.
no, you got more in you. Like you've got more, and you fucking better push. But
Yeah.
have you always been that true to yourself where you've gone, I can't, Victoria, you can't do this, just chill the fuck out? Like, is that your
Uh,
vibe?
I, I'll be honest, yeah, it's the same thing as me. Like, I just don't listen to myself, and I'm like, there's people that are like, what, like massive business people. They've done this through all this dedication. You got to do this and that, all in the same day. And it's just unrealistic. It's just constantly setting unrealistic expectations to do in a single day that people take years to accomplish.
Mm,
And I guess that pressure, where I mean, being youthful, being young, people are expecting you to already be making it big with what little knowledge and like resources you are provided.
mm,
Uh, and again, with my body, I don't listen to myself when I'm tired, of course, because I'm just like, after work, it's only like a couple of times I nap, because I'm just like, this is a whole day, this is a whole brand new day that I can do a lot of stuff in. I don't exactly want to sleep as it's beginning, as the day's just starting.
Yeah,
Um, and
it's
obviously that just tires it
mm,
out completely. It just
mm,
kind of drags out the sleep for the rest of the day.
mm.
But I suppose recently I have been sort of being like, okay, I need to be more gentle with myself mentally and physically. If I
What
need to
made that
meditate,
switch?
have a moment of calmness. Because I think I was just overwhelming myself. I just kept getting burnt out so quickly,
Mm,
and it would just, you could be on a massive high and I'm just doing a lot of stuff, and then the next day I'm like just exhausted and I just don't want to do anything and just lay in
yeah.
bed. And it's just, it wasn't a good consistent pattern that was happening. So I feel it was better that I just, you know, take moments to myself where it's just silence, just me and myself. Um, do what I need to do perhaps earlier in the day by waking up early, and that's when I can like relax more in the evening and such. Um, and I guess like setting more boundaries, of course, if people um want to work with me, but it's something that, I don't know, like street photography and stuff, which I'm not too fond of, just because it feels like I've done that quite a lot, and there's nothing ever really different between each one. So I'm just like, I won't be doing that. Thank you.
Mm.
Just, it's like implementing little things and trying not to be too people pleasy, but also be kind to others as well as to yourself. Because after
Very,
all,
it's a
you
very
only have your.
important, yeah, it's a very important message, Victoria, actually,
Mhm.
about boundaries, about that balance and that parallel of what boundaries are, but then being, you know, a caring, you know, true individual and trying to help people and stuff. And it is about finding that balance. And I think sometimes it's hard when you are a people pleaser,
Mhm.
to find that balance. And then that's where the overworking comes out, because, you know,
Oh,
all of a
absolutely.
sudden you've said yes to 5 million different people. And then, you know, you get to the end of the week and you think, oh my God, like, what have I just done? It's actually
Yeah.
interesting because I literally did that like today and yesterday.
Yeah.
I've got like all these different things that I'm doing, and but it's just so hard to, sometimes it's just so hard to control, because I feel like
Absolutely.
because that's the point I was gonna make. I had a conversation with one of our podcast flames, Chris Barton, the other week, and we were kind of talking about this, and we were talking about, um, I mentioned to him how I feel I've got to this stage where I'm aware now that I start to feel guilty when I don't do anything. Like when I don't do anything, or if I don't. Exactly
Mhm.
right, and I think it's important for us to have that awareness and to kind of understand that about ourselves, so we can kind of show compassion to ourselves and not and try and make the move to not feel as guilty when you don't do anything, because your life is your life and your journey is your journey. We get pressured, and I feel we create this guilt because we see all these other people who have been successful, and we see them making these speeches about just constantly going at it, and, you know, giving it 110% all the time, never stopping. You know, if you stop, you know, you're losing, and all this da 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 da. But what we don't
Get in your
realize
head.
is that
Mhm.
exact is, you know, that's their mentality, that's their head, that's their way of doing things. What's our way of doing things? And this is a switch and an awareness I think we all need to kind of come to, is just trying to just work out what our boundaries are, what our passions truly are, and what our inner soul is wanting us to actually achieve and do. Um, so um, so yeah, I do this all the time. I go onto these little tangents and rants, and then I forget our first initial topic and point. So it's it's a
That's
curse of mine. Oh
okay.
my God.
You get
but what that's what I was going to ask before though. So you say about a part-time job. So what's your part-time job? Because I think you mentioned before this was like your first like job as it were, right? Or
it's my first paid job because previously I did volunteering for the experience, but also to I think it was just I did the Duke of Edinburgh Awards, or I think it was the bronze one. So that was volunteering for that as well.
and
But,
what's the Duke of Edinburgh?
oh, you don't know what it is?
No, I do. I do. I'm just kind of playing dumb
Okay.
for these guys, just in
I don't
case
know
I
how
don't
to
know. I don't know.
describe it yet.
Mm.
I don't know how to describe it. I guess it's like you're doing an exhibition thing to sort of it's something that was set up by the Duke of Edinburgh. That's why it's called the Duke of Edinburgh. But yeah, I think it's just like this outdoorsy thing where it's encouraging young people to go in the outdoors and do this hiking and camping sort of activities, whilst also doing stuff to help better their abilities and also contribute to the community. It's like a whole dozen things that is basically meant for young people to sort of put themselves out into society, make them better themselves and others.
Yeah, that's
And
great. I mean, I
yeah,
never actually did it myself. I knew people who did do it, but I never did it. But it appealed to me. I actually was driving down this country lane and I saw some people with backpacks, and I thought, "Oh, there you go." Yeah.
it was
Um,
tough, but it was so worthwhile, honestly.
yeah.
There's a lot of
So yeah, so sorry, carry on how that was leading into your first paid job.
um well, I guess like any teenager, they get to have to get a job at some point that's like a part-time one to fund whatever they want to do really. And I did this quite late, to be honest, but I think it was ideal that if I was going to commit to a career that had required me to spend a lot of time where I have to be at home and not at a university and stuff, that would be ideal for me to get a job to have like some form of income coming in so I could fund these things. And I've just been there ever since really. I work at a supermarket, and the night shifts pay a lot more obviously, and it's just been like flexible hours really so I can commit to these creative things. It gives me time in the day to do all this editing for the videos, and also to go out to London so frequently.
Mm.
And yeah,
So,
it's worked out, but again it gets very tiresome, especially if
mm,
it's part-time and that night shift, so it sort of messes
yeah.
up the sleep schedule a lot.
I can imagine. I did during COVID. I was working in Sainsbury's doing night shift, doing the 2 a.m. till like 6 a.m. shift, and
Oh yeah,
it's just
it's crazy,
it's just
everyone's
crazy.
miserable because
Yeah.
everyone's tired.
But the thing is, when I first started,
Crazy how
because I'm a night owl. When I first started, I
yeah,
was actually the one that was like all like, yeah, fucking yeah, running around the thing, like, woo, like having a good time. And then yeah, everyone was just miserable as anything.
it breaks
Probably
you
why I
down
left
eventually.
eventually.
Honestly.
But you were mentioning about your video side of things. When did uh when did that video side, content creation side start coming in? Because you've been doing modeling you've been doing modeling for say a year and a half to 2 years. Actually, no, let me change that. When did the art come in? Because did the art come before the content creation, or did content creation start because of the modeling and then the art? Or let's dive into a bit of that.
Okay, art came way before I did any of this. I just had a passion for it throughout secondary school and all that. And I did the GCSE. And I was just so into realism that the amount of times I practiced the eye, the classic eye that people draw on paper and stuff in class, I did that so often.
Mm,
Um, and I don't know, I just never like considered it as a career because it tends to like lead off into art teacher, and I don't really want to be a teacher.
mm,
But it was just a hobby of mine that it was the only thing I've ever been consistent with as a hobby because I really liked it. It was really cool to create something out of nothing.
mm,
And um so when I did modeling, um it became more of a side thing, that because often enough I was out the house to not really have enough time to do it quite frequently. But at some point I figured people were genuinely liking what I was making, and they were requesting for me to do portraits of family members and things like that. And that's what I was thinking, maybe I can eventually turn this into something that I could sell to people, because that would be like a good side hustle type thing that could possibly develop into more. But obviously I know like just basics of business stuff, so we're gonna like start small, like perhaps an Etsy website. But I don't know, like art has just always been there, really. It's just a passion of mine, and modeling was only really developed like not so long ago, really. And now that's sort of merged into art, no, not art, videos. I just feel, because people are like broadcasting their artwork and like just tutorials and just little art vlogs and things like that, and I always love watching those videos because it feels like it encourages me to want to do art more and things like that. So I just want to push that stuff out as well, because it's quite cute, and I've always loved watching YouTube videos, so why not be like a contributor as well to what I've been watching for a lot of my life and stuff.
Yeah. So with the art then, because it's funny, because when I messaged you to say when I messaged you just about the episode and stuff, and you gave me all your info, you mentioned how, you know, with the content creation side of things and the art, you're starting to do YouTube videos, right? Where you're starting to teach people what you do and just talk to people about your experiences and like your life and stuff like that. But it's funny because that's why I wrote down, because you said you don't want to be a teacher, but you're turning into a teacher.
I get, yeah, technically that is being a teacher. Yeah.
You are becoming.
It's like in between teaching and like having a fun session with just like drawing and talking to people.
Yeah.
Essentially teaching, isn't it? Well, I guess it's like less pressure because you're not in front of people, a live audience and stuff.
No,
You're
for
just in
sure.
front
No,
of
I totally get you. I just saw it and I thought, ah, no, you are a teacher though. You are the teacher. But that's amazing.
Technically.
And how so when did you start diving more into your art? When did you make that transition?
It was definitely I would do like small sketches here and there throughout secondary school. But I suppose when it was around art GCSE that I was proper committing to it, because of course like exams and things. But I was just interested. I was really interested in like facial realism, which is why faces are my thing now. I can do a good drawing of a face. And just ever since I've just wanted to just keep pushing out, like testing the limits of what I can do.
Were you
I've
doing
only,
that alongside the modeling though?
yeah,
Like, were you doing your art and YouTube alongside the modeling and your part-time job? Or
yeah.
was it focused mainly on modeling and the part-time job, and you were juggling those two, or were you just juggling a little bit of everything?
I don't recall much artsy things really happening in last year, so I think it was mainly like model based and the part-time job based, more or less. And I would like fit little art bits in between where I would do like a portrait or things like that. But I wasn't producing as much as I would. But now I'm like having this moment of calm. I've got a lot of the ideas that I'm just like, it's going to be impossible to do them all at once. But I'm like, working it bit by bit, and I have the time now to sort of dedicate that more to my art and try and like promote that out to people.
And that comes with the content creation, right? And that's
I
why
guess.
you've been diving a little bit more into content creation.
Yeah, exactly. I've just, it's been fun so far. Obviously, like video editing, like don't get me wrong, it's difficult and it's very time consuming. So I like, it's opened a whole new perspective to how like content creators, they put so much effort into the videos that they do, and they're just like very well put together. And I'm just one person, and obviously that's so much put onto one person, but it's crazy. Like
Yeah.
I just appreciate how people take the time to do all these things to put on
Mm.
YouTube.
It's funny, I think you know, I've had all these kind of conversations with different creatives, and I've always my journey over the last year has had this realization that we are all becoming brands. Like we're all
Yeah,
becoming our own unique brands that we can sell, and that we can promote, and with that um comes everything. We have to become videographers, we have to become designers,
marketing,
illustrators,
marketing, all that.
marketers, business people, and yes, before, you know, the term in create, you know, the thing in creativity and creative outlets is what they didn't really tell you, is that it's 80% business and 20% creativity,
Absolutely.
which
It
I
sort of
think,
smacked me in the face when I realized that. I was just like,
yeah,
damn
like
it.
it is a
You're just
realization, but I almost think it is almost a little bit 50-50 though. I think the creativity comes with all the different things that you have to do for the business, and then the business side is just the knowledge of like how that kind of looks like. What does business actually look like? How do you look like, you know? But then you have to have creativity to get to have, you know, to think of these new these new things for the business side. But yeah, and I really think that, like, just leading off of that, you know, it's like a natural thing that's coming in this creative world, is like we are all having to become content creators, and we're all having to become you know, graphic designers, and we can, because of the tools that are being let out there. But it's like, how do we transition into this new world? Because whereas before you could, you know, you would probably hire a team to do this, but you know, everything, nobody had, no creatives have any money anymore, because I just think, because people are just can just do it, have just been doing it by themselves, and they've been creating their own businesses. So I feel like people almost have to transition into that world now, you know what I mean? But then how do these people who don't know what they're doing transition into that world? And I think it's becoming very natural. It's becoming a very natural process. And like, just like this, you know, the journey that you've just described to me, about getting into the content creation, and you know, finding your way, because you're using YouTube, right?
Yeah.
And so how have you been finding that? And do you just use YouTube, or are you using, like, going on like TikTok and Instagram and stuff? I guess what I'm trying to ask is, where can
Yeah.
people find you as well?
They can find me on YouTube, but I think I go under different names on different platforms, which is probably kind of confusing.
Yeah.
But yeah, on YouTube I go as Vicky Angel, just to make it sort of short and sweet. Um, and on TikTok I it's like the Angel-Sanchez.
Hmm.
um, but yeah, like TikTok, honestly, it's quite tough because you gotta push what you put into a YouTube video, compact it into a tiny short form content that will keep people's attention.
Hmm.
Because I think people have branched from YouTube off onto TikTok because it's a lot more just quick and easy to see, and then they just remember it or not.
Hmm.
And I think I like YouTube a lot more because it feels like more love is put into a video than,
Yeah.
I mean, TikTok, there's a lot of like amazing, well done videos and such, but um, I guess it's harder to think of things to compile to make it shorter to try and get my point across because I'm a very much a blabbermouth. I will just keep talking, and I can edit that out fine in YouTube,
Hmm.
and um, and I can get away with it on YouTube.
Yeah.
But in TikTok, people will just like go, no, I'm bored, scroll.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so it's just like testing out what platform works for you
Hmm.
the most, I suppose, and then you dedicate most effort into that platform, and others you like do like little snippets of things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Instagram as well. Their algorithm's gone horrible. But yeah, Instagram as well, and I'm on Facebook as well.
Okay, amazing.
Um,
And then just last question. and firstly, like, it's been so lovely to see your journey and to see you becoming your true creative self. And that is my question. Do you feel you're on the way to becoming your true creative self? You've done the modeling, like you've been doing the modeling, you've been doing your art, you know, your whole life, and you're starting to get into content creation and explore YouTube alongside your part-time job and stuff. You know, we haven't dived into kind of anything else, but do you feel like now you've started to calm down from the modeling and stuff, and you've focused more on the art? Do you think you're on a direction where you're becoming your true creative self?
I think, yeah, like progressively, just little by little, I'm just finding a place where I guess not so much comfortable, but feels right for the direction I'm trying to head towards. With the modeling, I feel it's not going to be something I'm going to do forever, because it's a super hard industry to sort of get into, and jobs, they just don't come out as quickly as you would like to. So naturally, it's not going to be a consistent good job for that. I do love the what do they call it, the collaboration sort of project stuff that people come up with, and I love to be a part of it, just as a way to be someone else's creative outlet, and wearing their clothing or like their art pieces that they want to do, and I love that. So I will still continue doing that for the most part, but I think I will be concentrating for the most part in video making and my art, because I feel I just want to keep progressing that, since that's something I've had like all my life, as I've told you, and it's just something I've been the most consistent at, and I just want to keep doing that. And
It almost, I can see it, and I can feel your energy towards this direction. And I think, you know, with the modeling, I don't think, you know, these creative outlets, they never leave us because they're a part of us. And I think the modeling is so linked with your realism and what you know, the direction of the art that you're taking. You know, if you're drawing and sketching and creating realism, like people and faces and all these different things, you take that modeling pathway that you've taken in your past and you take that into your artwork. You know, this is something I always try to promote, is that we never lose any of our creative outlets. They are all a part of us, and they're all one, because we are all creativity. Everything and everyone is creativity, and we put every single bit of creativity into everything we do. And it really sounds, and I can feel that you're kind of on that way now to kind of becoming your true, because I can see the smile on your face, that little smile on your face of like you're doing the thing that you loved doing when you were a child and you were younger, and you're now being able to go onto a journey to do that professionally and share that to the world, which is amazing. So thank you so much, Victoria, for this creative chat. It's been really lovely, and it's been lovely to it's been lovely to connect with you and just get to know you a bit better. And because you've been in the community now for like what, over a year, and it's just been so lovely to have.
Saney, actually.
Yeah, same as Saini, right? And it's been so lovely to have you a part of the community, because you've just been such a lovely creative inspiration, and you've been just such a humbling and caring, supporting individual that I've just loved to connect with. So thank you so much, and thank you for joining my creative chat today. And yeah, just good luck on, you know, your creative journey. I just think you're on an amazing direction, and I can't wait to see what you come up with and create for the world. So awesome. Thanks a lot, everyone, for joining and listening and tuning in to CandlerCreativeChats. I'm going to leave Victoria's details in the description, and if anyone wants to leave any if anyone wants to leave any comments, or wants to ask us any questions, wants us to talk about any topics, wants to be interviewed on CandlerCreativeChats or anything, just drop us an email. It's in the description. thank you very much. You've all been amazing. You've definitely been amazing, Victoria. That's Kind of Creative Chats. Peace out, A-Town.